In the last few decades, we've become more and more conscious of what we put in our body. But there's a question that almost no one asks. What am I feeding my subconscious? Because every story we take in, every headline, every emotional charge, all of it is food for our inner world. And just like the body, what we take into our psyche can either be nourishing or toxic. Let's look at what most of us are unconsciously consuming. Our unconscious is the soil out of which our reality grows. And we rarely stop to think, what am I planting there? Just how junk food fills the body with empty calories, psychological pollution fills the unconscious with toxic fuel. Every time we watch a show, scroll on social media, replay old memories, we're feeding the soil of the unconscious. And look what's being served up to us from so many angles in society. Streaming platforms overflowing with violence and despair. News feeds flush with outrage and suffering. Stories designed to hijack our nervous systems and keep us heavy, reactive, and afraid, ultimately lowering our frequency. Our ancestors only knew about events that were relative to them, that happened within their sphere of influence, things they could respond to or help to shape. But today we're flooded with tragedies and atrocities from all over the globe, things that the majority of us have no ability to affect or change. And this inability to affect meaningful change, to contribute to a solution, creates a sense of powerlessness that raises underlying anxiety and numbs the spirit. Here's the mystical and biological truth. Your body doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined. Watch a horror movie and your body starts pumping adrenaline and cortisol as if there's an actual monster in the room. Replay details of an old argument in your mind and watch your heart rate and blood pressure rise. But it goes even deeper. Psychological pollution creates an inner climate that quietly shapes our health. Chronic stress chemistry, which includes adrenaline, cortisol, and inflammatory signals, is like acid rain falling day after day on the body. Over time, it erodes the terrain, weakening immunity, disturbing sleep, and accelerating disease. This is why stress is so closely linked to autoimmune issues, cancer, and depression. And here's the paradox. You can eat the cleanest, most nutritionally dense diet, take all the best, most expensive supplements, and work out daily. But if your choices are still fueled by fear, judgment, or comparison, you may be flooding your system with stress chemistry that completely negates all the benefits. But the same mechanisms can work in our favor. Watch a child laugh, admire a sunset, or pause for gratitude, and your inner pharmacy starts dishing out the good stuff. Oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, the chemistry of trust, joy, connection, and healing. This is why the placebo effect is so astonishing. A simple belief, this can help me, can shift and affect our chemistry, reduce pain, and speed recovery. The subconscious is fertile ground. Whatever you plant will grow, not only in mood or state of mind, but in actual biology. Feed it weeds of fear and resentment, and that's what you'll harvest. Plant beauty, connection, and meaning, and you'll create an inner garden that nourishes body and soul. Unfortunately, most of us have been programmed for so long to accept, and even seek out a steady stream of shadow food. The news thrives on outrage. Look how bad the world is. Get angry. Social media thrives on comparison. Even our entertainment glamorizes darkness and violence. Now, I feel it's important to point out that this is not a video encouraging toxic positivity. I'm not saying we should deny the dark. Shadow is an integral part of life. It has a lot to teach us on both an individual and collective level. But when the shadow becomes the dominant focus, it distorts our inner world. The result? An inner climate of chronic stress or anxiety. The nervous system marinated in cortisol. The immune system weakened. The heart more vulnerable. This is how psychological pollution lays the groundwork for anxiety, depression, and even physical illness. And like sugar, outrage gives us a quick rush, a dopamine spike, a sense of belonging in the drama, but it ultimately leaves us weaker, fragmented, and craving more. This is the psychic junk food of our time. So how do we shift the terrain of our unconscious, the foundation of our personal reality, from a polluted wasteland to a thriving ecosystem? It begins with awareness. A healthy reality diet is about balance, intention, and sacred choice. Before you consume, ask yourself these questions. Does it nourish or drain me? How does my body respond? Do I feel expanded or contracted afterwards? Is this feeding my fears or my spirit? Because just as you can binge on shadow food, you can also choose soul food, nature, the most organic and unprocessed content there is. Stories of resilience and beauty, reminders of human strength and possibility. Practices like meditation, gratitude, and conscious creation, food for the soul. Uplifting people and communities. Every choice is a seed. Every story is an offering. And every image feeds a particular garden. This is why your reality diet matters. It's not just about state of mind, not even just about health. It's about the world that you're creating inside and the life that blooms from it. Your unconscious is always listening, always planting, always growing. So give it beauty, give it kindness, give it wonder. Let your inner climate become a sanctuary where resilience and joy naturally grow. You're not here to survive on psychic junk food. You are here to feast on the full spectrum of experience, to taste the sweetness of being fully awake, fully alive, and fully aligned with the destiny that longs to blossom through you. You're not just a consumer of reality. You are its curator. Choose wisely. Choose beautifully. Okay, thank you to everyone who made it this far. Time for a bit of uncurated material. So this is the 11th video. I've reached 11. This one was a bit tricky because my poor little computer that I was doing all the editing work on just could not handle it anymore. The fan started spinning out, getting so loud. And then eventually it just dropped to nothing, which I knew was a really bad sign and I couldn't keep using it. So I've had to get a new computer. I'm excited moving forward. I can sort of do things a little bit more creatively without stressing that my computer isn't going to be able to handle it. So this was a really interesting one. I'm really glad I did it. I actually wrote, when I used to write for Wake Up World, I did an article on a similar topic, but this one I took in a little bit different direction. I guess I just feel that this is just such an important topic that really doesn't get discussed or looked at enough, which is why for me it was really important to do this video and to get it right, because this is actually the second recording. You know, there's so much craziness in the world, and there's so many places to look out and feel like things aren't going in a very good direction. But the problem is that when we take that in, we actually become a part of the problem. And the more that we can come into that really conscious place of choosing what we consume and ensuring that we are feeding and nurturing a beautiful inner state, that's reflected in the collective unconscious and actually affects the whole collective. So it's not just even a personal inside job. It's an inside job that actually has the power to bring more light to our shared field. So with that, I will sign off from my heart to yours. Let's come together and build a future on the foundation of love.